bottom of the handout is the user ID and the password for ProQuest if you do want to access it off campus. Okay. So any questions about getting into the databases or identifying the type of research studies for part one? Okay. So that's part one. You're going to need to, like I said, cite the sources using APA, but we'll talk about APA in a minute. I want to go on to part two for right now. So part two of the assignment, you need 2 web pages, websites with reliable, accurate information geared toward a healthcare professional that includes treatment protocols for whatever type of cancer you're researching. Okay. So the way you do this is just go to Google. We use Google as our search engine for this. Okay. And I'm actually going to use the advanced search feature in Google. If you've never used advanced search in Google, way up in the right upper hand corner here, there's a little icon of a gear. If you click on that, it'll bring up the option to go into the advanced search feature in Google. Whoops. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay. Okay, so this is a different version of Google than I'm used to. Okay.
How do you use Google Chrome?
Google Chrome? No, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'll show you the shortcut. Rather than using advanced search, this is what we'll do. I'm going to type in breast cancer in quotation marks. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for the terms treatment protocol. Whoops. Protocol. Okay.
Once you search it, there goes your little gear you were looking for.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. So you can use the advanced search feature, it just has additional boxes you can put in, but you can do this as well. Again, we're putting the terms in quotation marks, so it searches for those exact phrases. So it's searching for breast cancer, those 2 words side by side, and treatment protocol side by side. The last thing I did up here, it may be kind of hard to see in the back, is I typed in the word cite, and I put in a colon and a period GOV. What this does in Google is it lets you limit your search results to a specific internet domain. So all the search results I get back for breast cancer treatment protocol will be from government websites. The reason I would do that is the agencies that are coming up with these treatment protocols are typically government agencies, like the National Cancer Institute, the National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health. Okay. The other big agencies that do these treatment protocols are the big universities, like the University of Washington. So you could put in .edu there and limit your search to educational institutions if you want. And we're just doing that to avoid any kind of organizational website or commercial website, okay? Because the government educational websites are typically more reliable. And again, those are the people who are coming up with these treatment protocols. So we did our search here. So a couple things I just want to point out. All this information over here on the right, and a few of these at the very top, you'll notice it says ads. These are all ads. These agencies or organizations just paid Google to be displayed when we did this search. Okay, so we're just going to ignore anything you see over here. We're just going to ignore those. Okay. So we've kind of limited the search here. But you're still going to have to kind of scroll through these websites to find treatment protocols. Okay. Let me see if I can find one here. I'm going to look at this one from the National Cancer Institute. Okay. So this is what a treatment protocol would look like. Again, this is from the National Cancer Institute. This is a really lengthy web document. if I printed this entire thing out, it'd probably be about 45 pages. But if you come across something like this, you don't need to print out the entire thing. So you just want to just enough information so that Wendy knows that this is a treatment protocol and it's from a legitimate website. So for this, I would probably just go in and print the first 4 pages or something like that, or copy and paste if you're doing it by email. That would probably be fine. Otherwise, you're just wasting paper with 45-page printout. Okay. So this would be an example of a treatment protocol. So the other things you need to do for the journal articles and the websites, you're going to cite these sources with APA. If you flip over the handout I gave you, there's some examples of how to cite your sources using APA. The way you cite sources using APA is kind of similar, whether it's a journal article or a web page. You need the same basic information. Okay. So just for an example here, this is a citation from EBSCOhost, okay, but it's not an APA format. So to reformat this, what you're going to do, you're going to start with the authors, last name, first initials. Okay, so I've got 3 authors up here. I'm going to take this information, I'm going to put in their last name, first initial. Okay. On the handout I gave you at the very top, there's an example, and I put a little tag so you can identify what the author is, the publication date, and all that information. Okay? Yeah?
Okay. I was taught before to put them in alphabetical order. Does that matter?
Not for this assignment.
Okay.
Now, if you were doing a regular research paper where you have a complete list of references at the end of the paper, then you would put them in alphabetical order, but not for this particular assignment.
Okay.
The publication date is 2009. As long as you've got a volume and an issue number, you don't necessarily have to put in the month. So this was published in November 2009, but because we have a volume and an issue number, we can just put the year in there. The article title, so again, the databases, the blue text at the very top of the citation is the article title. You're going to put in the journal title, always italicize titles in APA no matter what we're citing. So Drug Information Journal, we can italicize that. The volume and issue, the databases use these abbreviations, so VOL for volume, ISS for issue. When you create your APA citation, you don't use those. What APA has you do is you're going to italicize the volume number, put the issue number in parentheses. Okay? So it's going to look like that. The pages, the database will give you the pages. And then you just want to let the instructor know where you got the information. So retrieve from EBSCOhost or retrieve from ProQuest, whichever database you can find. Basic format for an article from the database. And again, examples on the handout should be fine. With the web page, a little bit different. We still need the same basic information, but a lot of web pages won't give us that information we need. But we're going to need the author. Lacking an individual, you're going to use the organization for the author. Okay? You need the date the web page was created or updated. You need the title of the web page. You need the date that you retrieved it, because web pages change all the time. They might have a new address or something like that. So you need the date that you looked at it. And then you need the complete web address. Okay, so the HTTP, www. So author of the organization. Again, if there's no individual listed, just use the agency or the organization. Okay. The data was created, so the year is good enough. Some web pages won't have a date, that was originally published or updated. If you can't find a date on the web page, just put in parentheses in period, D period. It just signifies there was no date on the web page. Title of the web page, again, is title, so it's in italics. The date you retrieve the web page, so retrieve July 12th, whatever the date is that you look at the web page. And then from whatever the web address is. Okay. And again, there should be a couple examples on the bottom of the handout that I gave you showing you how to do this. And I've also got the contact information for myself and Elaine at the bottom of that. So if you do have questions about APA or any of this stuff, feel free to contact us. So the other part of part 2, besides finding those treatment protocols and doing the APA citations, you need to write a sentence or two explaining why you think the information on that web page is reliable and something a healthcare professional would use. Just for the 2 web pages. Yeah. So I'm going to give you this handout. This just gives you some of the criteria you might want to use. You don't have to go through these point by point for each web page and list them all necessarily. But these will give you some idea of some of the things you'll be looking at when you're evaluating information you find on the internet. So let me go back. Let me go back to this page here. So one of the things you can look at, who's the author of the information. So if you're looking at anything dealing with medicine or healthcare, you want, if they're listing an individual, it'd be a good idea if they're like a doctor or a nurse or a healthcare professional, right? This web page from the National Cancer Institute, they don't list an individual, but it is from the National Cancer Institute. So if I was evaluating this web page, I would say, National Cancer Institute, government agency, they do cancer research all the time. That would be a good clue that's going to be a reliable source of information. The domain type. So we limited our search to government websites. Okay, like I said, typically a government website or an educational website will have more reliable, unbiased information. If we had brought up like a commercial website, a .com, that may be a pharmaceutical company that's trying to sell some kind of drug or cure for cancer. It may not be quite as reliable because they're only going to give their side of, how good the drug is. Okay. So edu.gov, that might be a criteria you use for choosing a website. Good websites will have something like this. This is about NCI. Okay. So good websites have contact information. At the bottom of this web page, they have a link where you can contact the organization. So this would be another criteria you can use. Down at the bottom here, they've got contact information. So they'll give us a phone number, a web address, a mailing address. They've got an 800 number here. So they're making it easy for us to contact the organization. Think about the general purpose of the page. So this page is basically designed to provide information to healthcare professionals, if you look at it. Okay? A commercial website is typically designed to sell you something. Okay? What else? And then just look at things like how current is the information. Typically at the bottom or the top of the page, they'll give you that. So this one, kind of hard to see. This was updated November 21st of last year. So this is fairly current information. And they put it up there to tell us what was last updated. So that's a good sign. References. So just like those research studies, the journal articles we looked at had a bunch of references. This also has a ton of references listed at the very bottom as well. Okay, so that might be another criteria you could use. And then just general things like, there's no pop-ups on this page, there's no advertisements, nothing like that. So those are all good signs of reliable web pages. So like I said, use that as a guideline for your evaluations, but you don't have to go through and list every single criteria on that handout. Okay? You're just going to be doing 1 or 2 sentences evaluating the source anyway. Okay? And then part 3 of the assignment, you're going to go to a website called PubMed, and you're going to do a search on your topic. So you would just open a browser, and the shortcut to get there is going to be www.pubmed.com.